am back with another video. All right, so this video is going to be about why I joined the military and why I got out. A lot of you may know that I was in the Army. I was in the Army and I got out. I got out 2 years into my tour. So I joined the military back in September of 2013. I was doing a whole bunch of videos and stuff like that summer 2013. I was updating my YouTube channel on just military stuff because I realized that only guys were on camera on YouTube talking about basic training, talking about MEPS, talking about the ASVAB. Like, only guys were talking about the military. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be that female and I'm going to talk about the Army and I'm going to talk about the ASVAB and I'm going to talk about MEPS and all of that. So I ended up taking the ASVAB twice. The first time I took it, I was in high school in 2011, I believe it was. I was in high school and I really didn't want to go into the Army, into the military. I didn't want to do none of that. So I was just like, oh, okay. My friends was like, oh, I'm taking a test. We get out of class to take the test. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take the test too. So we all took the test. It was the paper test at the time. And I failed. I failed the test by 2 points. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I went back to college, like I said I was going to do. And 2 years into college, I ended up getting on academic probation. So I ended up leaving. I ended up leaving the school that I was at. And that whole summer I was grinding. I was working like 4 jobs. I was working at Finish Line. I was still working at the school. I was working at McDonald's, and then I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So I was grinding, and I was living on the floor of my best friend's apartment, who she had shared a 4-bedroom apartment with. So it was this whole thing or whatever, and I had to pay my car note, and I had bills to pay. My mom wanted me to go back to live with her, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So I was like, you know what? Let me take the test again. Let me take the ASVAB again because I took it 2 years ago, and I really didn't want to be in the military. But now I want to be on my own. I want to wait to go back to school, but I don't want to be in my situation working 4 jobs. So I took the test again. This time I was like, you know what? Let me see what it is about. And I took it and I passed. So I passed. And the next day, like as soon as I passed, I called my recruiter. I was like, yo, I passed. He was like, cool. Now we can get the ball rolling. So I was like, okay. I took the test in June, the end of June. And was it the end of June? No, the end of July. I took the test at the end of July. So I took the test at the end of July, and my recruiter said, okay, you go to MEPS. So the next week, I went to MEPS, and MEPS, you had to do the duck walk. You had to be naked in front of a whole bunch of females. And that was the first time I was ever like naked in front of a whole bunch of females. But you get used to it after that. Like, it's whatever. Like, you get used to it. So I was naked in front of a whole bunch of females. Some people got disqualified because, like, if your back is not a certain way, you disqualified. If you can't do the duck walk correctly, you disqualified. So it all depends on like which old lady is there at that time trying to check on you. You know what I'm saying? They got to make sure you're perfect. So went to MEPS, and then that's the same day I picked my job. And I had already talked to my recruiter about being a chaplain assistant because I wanted an office job. I wanted an an easy job. I didn't want nobody to tell me, Taylor, you have to do this, report to this. So I wanted something easy. So I chose chaplain assistant. He told me I can get my degree doing that job because I'm not going to be working a lot. So I said, okay, I believe you, whatever. I'm going to get that job. So I ended up getting the job as a chaplain's assistant. So I was a chaplain's assistant. I went to MEPS. They said, you know what? I said, when can I leave out? Because I was tired of working 4 jobs. And I tried to submit a request to go back to school. They said, no, you got to wait till next semester. And I said, I'm not spending a whole another semester on the floor working 4 jobs. I'm not doing that no more. So he said, you could leave in September. So at this time, it was August. And I was like, well, shoot, school's starting back. All my homegirls went back to school. I was still working. I was still grinding until the day that I left. Till the day I left for basic, I was still working. So still working, whatever. Ended up telling the Salvation Army, look, joining the military, not gonna be here no more. Bam, I left the Salvation Army, left McDonald's, left the school job, and I left Finish Line. I left all my jobs. So, and I had 2 weeks before I was leaving, and I made sure that I did everything I wanted to do, as far as, you know, hanging out with my friends and all this other stuff. So I left for basic on September the 8th. I went right there to Jackson. It wasn't bad or anything like that. I already knew what to expect because one of my friends had already been to Jackson that whole summer. She was in basic, but she had went back to school because she was in the reserves. So she did like the summer program or whatever. So I was like, okay, I know what to expect. I know that these people is not really like this in real life. It's just training. Like they have to break you in order to build you back up, right? Because you got to forget everything that you knew. You got to leave the attitude at the door because you won't be sitting there doing push-ups. I mean, at the end of the day, I went into basic training, not overweight, but in my eyes, I was overweight because I was so skinny. Then I started getting thick. But then when I went to basic, I snapped right back to being my little skinny self. So basic just teaches you, that basic really just gets you ready for deployment. That's what basic training is. It gets you ready for deployment. It doesn't get you ready for the army where you're not deployed, regular day stuff. It doesn't prepare you for that. It just prepares you for basic training. So, I mean, it prepares you for deployment. So if you deploy, that's everything you learn in basic is what you would have to do on deployment. You know, you carry your weapon around all the time. You got to be fit. You got to be running. You got to walk swiftly, you know. I've never been deployed, but I do know I had a lot of friends who have been deployed. So that's from experience that I know. Went to basic, whatever. The day after basic, I went right to AIT, which was up the road from my basic training. I didn't leave at all. And then after that, you know, I went to AIT. AIT was cool. I mean, it was the Army. Like, we worked out every day, got up at 5 o'clock, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. If we got in trouble, we got up earlier. I was tired by 8 o'clock, and that was the time we had to go to bed or whatever. Like, they told us that you can go in your room. If you go to sleep, that's on you. If you don't, that's on you. I ended up going to sleep because I was tired. You make a lot of friends, lifelong friends. You know, I ended up going to Hawaii. That was my first duty station. That was my last duty station, Hawaii. And I loved everything that I did. And why I got out because I ended up having Jeremiah. I had Jeremiah and I was married. I am married and to Jeremiah's father. So he was just like, he was still in at the time. So he was just like, you know what? If you want to get out, you get out. That's what you gonna do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to get out. But at the time, so many people were like talking to me and pressuring me. Like, I know you're not going to get out. I know you're not going to do this. I know you're not going to do this. And I'm the type of person where don't be telling me what I'm not going to do. Like, no, because I'm going to show you that I am going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people were to tell me, oh, I know you're not going to stay in. I know you're not going to do this. Like, I would have been like, you know what? I am going to stay in. Because I like to prove people wrong for some reason. I don't know why. So I ended up getting out. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get out in September. And then I was like, no, I'm going to get out in November. No, I'm going to get out in October. I kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And I kept pushing it back because I really didn't know if I wanted to get out or stay in. So I ended up getting out. So I got out and it was okay. I mean, I didn't apply for any medical benefits because one day I knew that I wanted to get back in just because the military provides you with a lot of stability. And when at my age, at that time, when I got in the military, I was 19. I had already did 2 years of college. I was already on my own. I didn't have to pay my own bills because I was in college. You know, you don't have to pay rent in college unless you're like a junior or senior and you have to have your own apartment. But I didn't have to pay rent. All I had to pay was my car note because my mom paid my car insurance. So I didn't have to pay like anything. So the military, jumping from school where you don't have to pay to the military where you don't have to pay is good, because you're just like, oh, okay, this is like college. I don't have to pay for housing. All you have to pay for is internet if you want it, is your car note if you have a car, is your car insurance, and your phone bill. Like, that's all you have to pay. All the other money, you just stacking your paper. Like, that's it. And a lot of people forget that. Like, they just be like, they forget the real world. They forget what it's like to be a civilian. And I forgot what it was like to be a civilian because I've never been an adult. And I've never been an adult in a sense. When I was in the Army, I had to depend on my Army people to take care of me. And they did. You know, the Army took care of me. They gave me food. They gave me shelter. I bought my own clothes. Like, I was spoiled. I bought everything. Everything new I had. Michael Kors this. I love Michael Kors. Michael Kors shoes that. Like, Adidas this. Adidas that. Pink this. Victoria's Secret that. Like, I wanted everything I wanted. I got. Just because the military made it easy. Because I didn't have to pay insurance. I didn't have to pay life insurance. I didn't have to pay really nothing. Like, it was easy. So when I got out of the military, I was 21. 21 when I got out, still living with my husband. We ended up having a falling out. That's a whole nother story. I ended up moving to New York. We ended up getting back together. Ended up moving out again. And we ended up being separated. I had to learn how to maneuver in the civilian world because it's not easy. If you got to pay rent. You got to pay your own health insurance. You got to pay your light bill. You got to pay your water bill. You got to pay your own car note. Your own, like, if you got 2 cars, you got 2 car notes. You got to pay car taxes. You have a lot of responsibility. And the military paints a pretty picture for you as if you don't have to do none of that. You just be with us and I'll take care of you. Which is true. It's so true. It's so true. So if you're like, oh, I want to be independent, I'm going to join the military. Do what is best for you. A lot of people are like, oh, you got out, you're so stupid. So yeah, if you're thinking about joining, do your research what you want to do. Because what you may want to do, you may go there, the recruiter can say, yeah, all right, we got you in this job right here. Once you go to MEPS, it's what the recruiter say. You may not even get that job. They may be like, look, the needs of the Army says you're gonna have to be a 91 Bravo. The needs of the Army says you're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to be a fueler. You're gonna have to be on the front line. Oh, the needs of the Army said, you know what I'm saying? So don't think just because you're talking to a recruiter, they're just gonna feed you this. They're gonna feed you this perfect world. They are, because they have to make their numbers. Okay, everything is a numbers game. They're gonna have to make their numbers. Military need people now anyway. I'm just saying, but enough of that. If you want to know more about my military experience, about my experience in Hawaii is beautiful. If you want to know about my civilian life experience, it's beautiful as well. I am going to do more like sit downs, because I love to talk, and what other way than to talk to, I like to talk, right? And it's kind of like I'm talking to myself, but I know one day someone on the other end is going to listen to what I'm saying. So it's not really like I'm talking to myself, because someone is listening to me. But anyways, I like to do this. I like to talk, and I like to run my mouth, and sometimes I just be talking, and people don't be wanting to hear what I gotta say. Yeah, guys, rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in another